Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. It is my last chairmanship of this county board committee on public works, and I'll have something to say at the end. So I understand we might as well do them under public comment.
If you'd like to go ahead and
Yeah.
move forward with that presentation.
So that the folks from, Commissioner Dessart and the folks from the League of Women Voters and other stuff regarding the Heritage Gallery, so you just don't have to stick around. We'd let you guys go now. So take it away. There are some ideas that have been out there for years regarding the Heritage Gallery. Those of you who are not 100% certain what the Heritage Gallery is, that's the area in this building right outside of this room that's on the first floor that has some things in there regarding what's in there now.
You got Red Grange in there.
Red Grange.
You have various individuals. It's been fairly static for the past 20 years. And on the agenda today, you have the, I know Tim and his team has worked for several years to terminate the agreement of the existing group that runs that. And so today there is a termination of that. And so it's fairly timely to have our guests speak about maybe options or ideas moving forward.
So like 30 years ago or whatever it was, when they first built the building, a group came together and they wanted to celebrate some of the people, the history of DuPage County. So the county at that time board gave a long-term irrevocable lease to a group called the Heritage Gallery. And that was put in roughly 25 years ago and has not changed in 25 plus years. A couple of years ago, Cheryl Marquet and I started talking about the fact that it hasn't changed in 25 years, and the idea of putting some other things in there, maybe doing rotating. That's when we ran across this irrevocable lease that was out there. And we tried at that time to try and get them to relinquish it, to let us go forward. And they kept coming back to the fact that they paid so much money to put that gallery together that they didn't want to give it up. And now a few years later, we contacted them again, and they're down to one member now. And that one member has agreed to relinquish the gallery. So there's going to be the next county board is going to start talking about, how we're going to run that place over there. One thing everybody needs to keep in mind is that, surprisingly, those displays are exceptionally expensive to produce. The ones for Judge Bauer over at the annex, I believe, cost 50, 60 grand. The county board did not pay a dime of that, refused to, even though, Judge Bauer is a phenomenal person in our history of DuPage County. So Bob Schullerstrom went out and raised all the money from the community, the legal community, to put in that the display for Judge Bauer. And, so there's going to be a lot of things going forward. The League of Women Voters, Member Dessart had some ideas on it, and you guys are going to have to put together, policies and all sorts of things as you go forward. So because this is up to date for it, Member Dessart wanted some folks who had some ideas on it for the future to bring forward these ideas, and let's hear from them now. Member Dessart.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. About a year ago, the League of Women Voter president from Naperville, Becky Simon, came up to me and she said, the Heritage Gallery is not very diverse, inclusive, doesn't show DuPage County. And I said, what's the Heritage Gallery? I had no idea. It's on the first floor of the building, as Chairman Healy said. So since then, we've been meeting with Pastor Tom Craighead and Becky Simon and people from the NAACP to find out how we can make this gallery more inclusive of DuPage County. So take it away, Becky and Tom.
Hello, I'm Becky Simon with the League of Women Voters of Naperville. I'm speaking for the 7 sister leagues of DuPage County: Aurora, Downers Grove, Woodridge, Lisle, Glen Ellen, Naperville, Roselle, Bloomingdale, and Wheaton. Next slide. League of Women Voters is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, both in principle and in practice. Next slide. Over the years, we have enjoyed many partnerships with NAACP of DuPage, and now both organizations support updating the DuPage Heritage Gallery to better reflect the diversity that is DuPage County. Next slide. In the coming year, we would like to work with DuPage County to bring new stories and diversity to the DuPage Heritage Gallery. Next slide. There are many local history museums in DuPage County who would be excited about the opportunity to share their collections and their research in this gallery space. Next slide. We are all fortunate to live in a county with a rich and diverse history. DuPage has many amazing stories to be told. Today, the DuPage Heritage Gallery is ready for a fresh voice and new, diverse stories. Thank you.
Oh, I missed it. God darn it.
Okay, who's speaking next?
Tom, did you want to say a few words? Tom Craighead,
Hi.
about our project and our meetings?
Hi. I'm a deacon at St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Glen Ellen. The only thing I would like to add is that we have done some research and have begun to find, for example, I don't know if you know much about the history of the Underground Railroad in DuPage, but a lot of where we live and every day are roots on the the Underground Railroad. And we have a great historian in our midst, Lynette Tilly Turner. So there really are a lot of stories to tell. And so I'm just hoping to make this a more living kind of exhibit and gallery. So thanks very much for listening.
Part of the process of this committee that has been meeting over the past several months is funding, and we have somebody on our committee, Karen Peck, who is a golden goose when it comes to getting grants and things like that. So we're confident that the DuPage County will not have to pay for anything regarding this exhibit. We're also, Becky, you can speak more to this, but we're also speaking with different museums throughout DuPage County to help us make this a more living museum, meaning that it's been stagnant since it's been there since 1982. But we want to bring in and rotate exhibits. Maybe one year we do suffragettes, maybe one year we do the Underground Railroad. Becky, talk about the museums, would you, that we've been in contact with?
Naper Settlement is interested. They've been talking with other area museums about different exhibits that they would be interested in partnering on. This would be a group effort for all of the museums in DuPage County. And as Tom said, there are so many stories to be told. One of the most amazing things I found was that Downers Grove, one of its founders, was a former slave from Kentucky. Israel Blackburn signed the incorporation papers for DuPage County. And later on, he actually had the will to run for public office in the 19th century, a freed slave. How amazing is that? We want to share these stories with DuPage County. This should be a glorious destination gallery for DuPage County.
Thank you. So what we'd like is your support. The small committee of the NAACP, the League of Women Voters throughout DuPage County, would like your support to move forward in coming up with ideas, coming up with funding. And as Chairman Healy said, this is not going to be a cheap project. It's going to be very expensive. However, we've already got the infrastructure there. The case is already there. The exhibits can be changed out fairly easily. If you've been through it, you can see the little shadow boxes and things like that. The flags and banners hanging down would obviously have to be replaced, but we're working on funding and we would love to have your support. Just want to tell you about one other person of note, talking about inclusion. One of the stories that I recently heard was the story of Ellen Martin. And Ellen Martin was an attorney, although back then women could be attorneys, but they could not practice law in court. So she was a real estate attorney. One day she went up to her Lombard voting place and she told the men at the election place that she wanted to vote. And they said, no, women can't vote. So she went home, she wrote a brief on why she should vote. So she went back to the voting place in Lombard and said, here, read my brief on why I should vote. And the men were either too lazy or disinterested. They didn't care. So they're like, just go ahead and vote. So she is the first woman ever in the state of Illinois to vote in an election. And she didn't just stop there. She left the polling place and brought 14 of her friends back to vote that day as well, her female friends. So she was the first woman to ever vote in Illinois. Just one of the many stories we're talking about sharing with DuPage County through the Heritage Gallery. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions of these folks?
Mr. Chairman, this is Sam Tornatore. I think it's a great idea. However, I would ask your committee, Dawn, to remember or contemplate one of DuPage County's most famous citizens and a person that I spoke with Nick about a couple of years ago. I made a promise to my board, my DuPage County Health Board member, Charlie Thurston, that if we could ever change the Heritage Gallery and incorporate Billy Williams, who's a Hall of Fame Cub baseball player and a Wheaton resident, and get him in there. I promised Charlie I would do everything I could to do that. So before we get somebody else in there, I really would like Billy to be a part of your scope in that as well. So thanks.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Becky.
We also have had DuPage County residents who were part of the Women's Baseball League in World War II. We had a DuPage County resident who was one of the Rockford Peaches. So there's a lot of potential for phenomenal athletic history in DuPage County.
Okay, we need to wrap it up, I'm being told, because we have a long meeting and transportation is kind of snippy, but go ahead. Next was Mr. Larson, then was Ms.
So is HHS at 9:30. We can be snippy too. So
Go ahead, Mr. Larson.
I didn't have any comments. I was just talking to my wife who was leaving.
Okay, so your wife, we said hi. Mary, go ahead.
Just to add on to Member Dessart's comments, I believe that the Wheaton Code at that time said that all residents could vote. And so Ms. Martin decided that she was a resident. So, you know, you gotta dot your I's and cross your T's. So anyway, thank you.
And
And
the
there
other
are ways to raise money. And this is one of the things we talked about a couple of years ago when we first started talking about this, Cheryl and myself, was a tree of life on the big wall that's there, which is where we could have people who want to commemorate the life or work of somebody can pay for a leaf to be put on with their name on it. That would be a way to raise funds to have, you know, more display cases or do things of that nature. And we looked into that, but again, we couldn't go much further because of the, at that time, the unwillingness to release it. So unless there is something more, I want to thank the three of you for your comments today. And feel free to continue to stay on, or you feel free to leave, and we'll get going on with the business of this. I'm sure this will be taken up at the next county board meeting.
Thank you so much for letting us present.
January.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Can I have a motion to approve the Public Works Committee regular meeting minutes of October 20th?
So move, Krajewski.
Second, Noonan.
We have a motion, second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Oh, we have to do a roll call, don't we?
Yeah. You do. Sorry, Laura.
Roll call.
Do I do?
Yep. Yeah,
What order do I do it in?
just any order you want.
All right.
Aye, Ely says aye.
Really? Okay, Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatore,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozai.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're now going to entertain a motion to combine and approve the budget transfers 5A, B, and C.
So move, Krajewski.
Second, Larson.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Ely,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatore,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozai.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm now going to ask for a motion to combine items 6A and 7A, 6A being the consent items, golf acquisition group, contracts extensions to August 30th, and claims report for public works and facilities management. Can I have a motion on same?
So move, Krajewski.
Second Noonan.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Can I have a roll call?
Healy,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Can I have a motion to combine items 8A and 8B, 8A being a First Amendment to a resolution for an intergovernmental agreement between the Wheaton Park District and the county regarding the historical museum to amend the agreement to modify certain aspects of the compensation, and item 8B, which is a First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the Wheaton District and the historical museum to amend intergovernmental agreement to address the remaining work components and expenses from the original project proposal.
So moved
So
Noonan.
Krajewski, second.
We have a motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, sorry, roll call.
Healy,
Aye.
I don't know, that's my order here. Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
I have a motion item number 9A, which is a sole source recommendation for approval of a contract to Gardner Denver Nash LLC, Process Control, Process Control Corporation for parts and repair services as needed.
Motion Krajewski.
Seconded by Larson. Are there any discussion? Seeing none, do we have a roll call?
Healy,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Can I have a motion to combine items 10A, B, and C, combine and approve items 10A, B, and C, 10A being a recommendation for contract to Warehouse Direct Inc. for repair parts for janitorial cleaning equipment, B being a contract to Joseph J. Henderson and Sons for rehabilitation of the Nordic wastewater treatment facility in the total of $9,933,000. This is the one we've been talking about for quite some time, and we did, full discussions on this here and also with the board. 9C, which is contract to Valdez Supplies to furnish and deliver restroom tissue and paper towels, which is the most important thing that this committee does for this county.
So moved. Ozog.
Second Noonan.
We have a motion and a second. I just want to add on this thing, very proud of the work that was done by staff on 9B, which is the Nordic wastewater treatment. This is going to take, about 2 years to complete?
Yep.
So it's to modernize that whole facility. And once again, the puppy. You just stole all my thunder. It's to update the Nordic treatment plan. Again, we put the county's facilities, head and shoulders above the rest. So I want to thank everybody for all the work and staff for all the work they've done in this. We have a roll call.
Healy,
Aye.
Larson,
You brought on the dog and it's now freezing.
Noonan,
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
Motion carries. So Mr. Larson, who was that beautiful beagle?
That was my little girl Molly.
All right. Okay, can I have a motion to combine and approve items 11A through C, A being an amendment to resolution issued to Waste Management due to needed additional funds for disposal of refuse. B being recommendation of approval, an amendment to resolution to Polydyne to provide additional polymer needed for sludge dewatering and solids thickening. Again, one of the important things we do. And C being a recommendation for a contract to White Services, Construction Services to extend the contract expiration date from April 30th to August 30th. Can I have a
So
motion?
moved Noonan.
Motion by Noonan.
Second Larson.
Krajewski. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Healy,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
No, I thought you know. She's a very skilled person. I've always thought that. Can I have a motion to combine and approve items 12A through E, A being a recommendation approval of an agreement between the county of DuPage and for space at the courthouse for Family Shelters, Inc. B being a contract with CASA of DuPage, Inc. for the same lease for additional space. C being the first amendment to the resolution, which ends the lease for the Heritage Gallery area. D being amendment to the resolution issued to Alexander Bradley Burns American Post LLC Post 80 on behalf of the 18th Judicial Circuit for the lease of property for use in the courthouse facilities for a change order to change the contract expiration date of February 28, 2023 to February 28, 2021. And finally, E, which is recommendation for approval of an agreement between the county of DuPage and the administrative offices of the clerk of the court for lease of space in the courthouse. Can I have a motion?
So moved, Noonan.
Second, Krajewski.
Is there any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, roll call.
Healy,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozark.
Aye.
I didn't see that. What is that? Yeah, I can explain that. Because I didn't know what F was, I held F 12F open, so I'd like a motion to approve item 12F, which is open credit accounts. So we have a motion, if we can get a motion in a second, then Nick will.
So moved, Krajewski.
Seconded by Noonan.
So
Second.
this is an outcome of, you remember the board approved the new purchasing guidelines, I think at the last county board, where the procurement levels increased slightly. And also another component of it recommended by our county auditor was to have this step, because every department out there, they don't have credit cards necessarily. No department really has a credit card, but a lot of vendors out there extend the ability for a department to go buy, you know, a tire or something like that, something small value. And we thought it was good practice for you to know all of the vendors that we have across the county. All the checks and balances are still in place in all these. They still get the, you know, all the check and balance of the supervisors and the sign-offs and the reviews. The auditor still looks at them, goes to the finance department. But we felt it was important that the board members realize in each department. So today, you're going to probably see it in transportation as well. They're the other department that has a lot of these. Any of the operating departments tend to have a lot of these. And basically, it's just a credit line that businesses extend, saying, okay, yeah, you can purchase the products and then we'll bill your department afterwards. That's all it is. There's no interest, no nothing, but we just wanted to inform the committees.
Are there any questions?
I just have one, and maybe it's for the new board members. It's been a couple of years, but we still have no corporate credit card in the building. Is that correct? And a lot of these vendors require credit cards. So we have staff members who have to use their own personal card, and then we have to reimburse them. Is that still correct, Nick?
So the only corporate credit card that I'm aware of in the building is Gwen. Gwen Henry has a county credit card. But you are correct. Most of the other, and that was a decision made many years ago. We didn't want to have multiple credit cards.
No, I understand it was a decision, but we have 8 new board members that came on 2 years ago that don't even know that. But I mean, to me, I don't think it's right for an employee to have to put something on a county expense on their own personal credit card. And then by the time it gets reimbursed, because it has to go through their time report and then signed off and then goes to the finance department and the auditor, then back to them getting a paycheck. It just seems that that's not fair for the employee. But just
That's
my
why
own
we
2
have
cents.
to open credit account.
And I can tell you where it affects the most is I'm kind of looking over at Wendy and IT, because we're able to, just like these, we're able to work with our vendors and they're like, yeah, whatever, you know, here, take this front for the vehicle and we'll bill you for it. But in the IT world, that doesn't really happen. So you see a lot of Wendy and Don putting $1,000 on their credit card for a license, and they have to be reimbursed, and it usually takes a month or 2 to get reimbursed. So that is absolutely out there, and that's a fact.
And I think that's a discussion. We got more new board members coming in. And like I said, the 8 that came in or 6 that came in 2 years ago, probably aren't even familiar with the policy. But for an employee to have to wait 2 months or a month to get $1,000 back on a county expense on their own personal credit card, I think is wrong.
I just as a note, I just charged $2,450 on my credit card.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but Wendy just said she just charged $2,450 on her credit card for county expenses. So it is a problem, but it's that balancing act of, do you want credit cards out there? And so it is a balancing act. And unfortunately, there are some vendors who you cannot have any kind of account. And so you have to have payment up front, which makes it difficult.
Go ahead, Mary.
I agree with Member Krajewski that it's certainly an inconvenience for the employees, but they could get miles on their cards. The only problem is right now we can't go anywhere. So that's really not helpful. But we should address this, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Healy,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Noonan,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Krajewski,
Aye.
Ozai.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, under old business, I just wanted to, Nick.
So I wanted to, because I'm not really sure the format or how it's going to function for the first meeting in December. I wanted to personally thank, we have 3 members that have been long members on our committee for a while, that I'm not sure that first meeting in December, but from staff standpoint, we would like to thank all 3 members for what you've done. Member Larson, Member Noonan, and obviously Chairman Healy, what you've done for our departments, what this committee has done for public works and facilities management. We can't thank this team enough, because not only you 3, the entire committee have been huge supporters of what we've done in facilities and public works. And we've accomplished a lot of really, really good business over the years. And I just like to thank you personally. And I know staff, we all feel the same way, that we probably have with you 3, the rest of our committee, one of the best committees here. And we are very proud of what we accomplished. So thank you, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anything else under old or new business? Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, just to echo that, I've been on this committee for 10 years. A lot of you have heard me talk over the years about good government and how DuPage County does government well. I don't think there's any better example of that than what this committee does. If you look at the buildings we've built, the way we've done it in environmentally sensitive ways, the way we've done it in ways that take into consideration the needs of this community now and 20 years from now, the forward thinking of this committee to budget for 20 years down the road. And it all stems from your leadership, Chairman Healy. I've watched and admired the way you run this committee, and not just in meetings. I know the countless hours of time you spend with Nick and the staff going through things and figuring out ways to get stuff done with less money and more productivity for the people of DuPage County. And they owe you a tremendous debt. And I just personally want to thank you. It's been an honor to serve with you over the last 10 years.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, I'm going to end it up then. I would like to thank staff for being there. When I first took over as chairman, what, 12 years now? It's like 12 years or more. We looked ahead only a year, maybe 2, sometimes 3. We immediately changed to a 5-year and 10-year, and in some cases 20+ years looking ahead, which has really changed the way we do business here. And again, staff, you guys have done a phenomenal job. Sean, Tim, Nick, everybody, and all the people underneath you. We've just, that far-reaching look ahead is really helpful, because one of the things I said the first day I came in was, I never want to have an increase in water and sewer rate over 3 or 4% a year. I wanted to keep it below that number if at all humanly possible. And the only way to do that is by looking ahead. And we've kept that. And including this new one, I think we're at 4-something increase a year. And that's totally redoing some of our plants and everything else. So that far look ahead into the future is really important for a governmental agency to have. also the innovative thinking. If anything, what I really enjoyed is walking into Nick's office with these guys and turning to them and saying, I have a crazy idea. And then you throw it out there, and before you know it, everybody else has these crazy ideas, and we're actually able to implement some of those crazy ideas. I think the Vector station by staff at the plant was, started out talking about this, and before you know it, it became a building that became one of the highlights of what this county has done environmentally and good government-wise, working with all of our other agencies around the county. And and Nick, you've just done a phenomenal job. Tim, Sean, everybody. It's just been enjoyable working on this and sitting down with you guys. And I know that the last thing you ever want to do again is look for another building site outside of this place. We've been looking for over 10 years to try and build something on the east side of this county. And every time we would get close, we would lose it because the numbers just didn't work. And we always said we would never bring it unless we were absolutely certain that the numbers were going to be an advantage for a county to do. But again, it is something to look forward in the future. So as I leave, I look forward to watching the county board and this committee as it moves forward. I hope you continue to look far into the future, come up with innovative ideas, and never be afraid to bring those innovative ideas, no matter how crazy they are, to staff and see what they have to say about it. But also don't be afraid to have staff be able to tell you very succinctly that you're out of your mind. Because, I mean, it took a few years, but eventually Nick and Tim and everybody and Sean got to the point where they went, well, that's a really stupid idea, Jim. And then you realize that it's just not something that's going to fly. But you have to have the relationship with staff and be able to have them comfortable enough to tell you that. And I've always told staff here at the county, never be afraid when I come in with a crazy idea that you can tell me that that's just not ever feasibly going to ever work. Because unless you start those crazy ideas, then they have the ability to start those crazy ideas. And when they start them, sometimes you come up with some really phenomenal ideas. So I want to thank you all and members of this committee and members of past committees and the last two chairmen, which I think were Tom Bennington and Deb Olson. It's been a great 20-some year ride on Public Works. And this is the committee this is transportation are the two things I will actually miss from the county as I leave in about 12 days or something like that. So thank you all very much. And if there is nothing more, we are adjourned.